Today I'm going to show you how to make your own solar generator that's way cheaper than any solar generator you can buy, but also infinitely customizable. Or maybe society just collapses and you have to bring out some of your inner Leonard Skinner / Mad Max guitar player on the front of your truck. You can modify this to use just the inverter. So in front of me is literally all of the components in a solar generator. So a solar generator consists of electricity storage, so a battery, a charge controller, so you can get power from a solar panel, an inverter to convert the DC to AC, so you can run AC appliances, and also a trickle charger that takes AC from your house or whatever, and you can charge a battery with it. That is literally what makes up a solar generator, except they put it in a plastic, nice-looking box. Now, my favorite thing about building my own stuff is I get to learn. So I am not a journeyman electrician, but I know the AC and can wire up an entire house to building code start to finish, every component of it. DC, I'm still learning, and I get to learn on the go. I get to infinitely modify to my needs. So this battery is literally, I buy slightly used. They're tested. They came out of cell towers for $99 plus a $50 core. So if this thing works for whatever 5 years, and then I bring it in and then get another one that's out of a cell tower for $99. That's super cheap. And these batteries are advanced lead acid batteries. They're awesome. Inverters. The best place to get an inverter, like most other things I buy, is from Viver. That's definitely the best bang for your buck. This is a modified sine wave inverter. This one's 2,000 watts. They have some different models. Now, it's not as efficient, but it's also not nearly as expensive as a pure sine wave inverter. And you can get 12-volt inverters, 24-volt inverters. You could put 2 batteries and have just more 12-volt storage, or put 2 batteries and create a 24-volt system. This charge controller was literally $18, and it does a 12 or a 24-volt system. So this is a 12-volt solar panel, and I wire it up. I buy all my own connectors for solar panels. They're called MC4 connectors, I believe. And I have a whole bunch of those, the crimper tool, and a whole bunch of wiring, so I can infinitely modify, change, move things around. If the solar panels need to be further away from where I want to have my batteries, I can make a longer wire with all the tools that I have on hand. This is just something that I like to do, learning how I can do that and how I can build this however you want. So for your requirements, you need more juice. Then put some more batteries in parallel. If you want to keep it a 12-volt system, wire it up so they're a 12-volt system. You can put 100 batteries and have it a 12-volt system and have all that electrical storage. Or the bigger solar equipment, typically you wire solar panels, get a charge controller, and wire your batteries to be a 48-volt system and get a 48-volt inverter. That does some big power, so big household appliances. Now, maybe you're not getting enough electricity, right? Now, if you buy a little solar generator, it'll have a fixed charge controller in it. You can't really upgrade. It'll allow so much photovoltaic input, right? Well, this, if I want more solar panels, because this isn't charging fast enough for whatever my needs are, for whatever purpose that I'm doing, all I do is unwire this and put in another charge controller, bigger one. And then get more solar panels, enough that the charge controller can handle. If I want more battery storage, you add more batteries. If I need a smaller inverter, I get a smaller inverter. If I need a bigger inverter, I get a bigger inverter, probably from Viver. Maybe I don't feel like having solar panels. Then you get a trickle charger. This one was $19. You plug it into your 110 AC outlet, and it charges a 12-volt battery, right? So you don't even need the solar panel. Some people with their solar generators don't even have solar panels. They just charge it up at home and take it camping for their little bit of needs or their day trip or whatever, and then charge it up at home again. Maybe you don't feel like spending the money on a battery and you just need the inversion side of it. And maybe what you're doing is you need a few remote tools. Maybe you need to make a few cuts here once in a while. Well, you don't need to haul a big thing. All you need to haul is this lightweight Viver inverter, and I put booster cable clamps on so it's quick connect. So I can take any of my vehicles, my golf cart, truck, grain truck. The van has a battery too. And I can have temporary power to make a few cuts. Bob's got a good alternator too, and a battery. So all you need is the inverter, and then you can run some tools. Now I will say most vehicles and equipment like this aren't deep cycle batteries, so it's not the best for ongoing AC, but in a pinch you could run a skill saw, any little tools, but on an ongoing basis it'll be hard on the alternator and also the battery on the machine. Your typical piece of equipment or vehicle alternator, I understand, is over 1,000 watts. So somewhere between 1,000 and 1,400 watts. My old truck, I'm sure, has a way better alternator than anything new. And you literally plug in the inverter and you can have power. Golf cart has a 48 volt battery bank, so a 12 volt inverter like the Viver one doesn't work. Unless, of course, you have a reducer from 48 volts to 12 volts like I do, of course. So you can get a really expensive 48 volt inverter to take 48 volts DC to your AC power. That would effectively make the golf cart a mobile solar generator with a whole lot of battery storage. Golf carts have deep cycle batteries as well. Perfect for a solar generator. On the go. But I have a reducer in here. This guy. So I can use a small 12 volt inverter. Now it's better to invert, like a bigger solar system has 48 volts. So 12 volts you can only do so much type of thing, but for little stuff, that's good. Maybe you don't need an inverter. Maybe you're running something like this Coleman little cooler, right? This Coleman cooler comes with a AC adapter, or just plug it in to the 12 volt cigarette lighter. So if all I'm running is a cooler, then I don't need to spend the money on an inverter. I literally just get yourself an adapter or a female part of a cigarette lighter, plug that in, the other two wires, stick that on your battery, and you can run 12 volt equipment because you don't need to invert. You could eliminate the solar panel and the charge controller and just use a trickle charger. You can literally do whatever you want. So for me, I have a bunch of inverters of all different sizes, anywhere from a little tiny one to the bigger kind of Viver ones, right? I'd even like to get a 48 volt one for my golf cart 48 volt battery bank to have some serious mobile backup power. But let's say I'm doing an honor egg system at my front gate. So I put eggs on a hot summer day. I put it in my little cooler here to keep the eggs pretty nice and cool. I don't necessarily need a big inverter. I can use a really, really tiny one because it doesn't need that much power. These batteries are so cheap. I got a lot of juice. I could just charge it once in a while, or solar panels, and this system is so cheap, I can keep it fully charged, and I can literally have cooling for my honor egg system all the time. If I was doing a total off-grid tiny house or something and I needed some more juice, I might get a little bit bigger charge controller, add a couple more solar panels where the charge controller can still handle it, and maybe I get crazy and I have a full-size fridge and want a coffee maker and a microwave. Well, I need some more juice, so I'm going to buy 4 of these or 6 of these. Kind of figure out your power needs. And maybe this 2,000 watt Viver inverter isn't quite enough. Well, they also sell 2,500 watt and a 5,000 watt inverter, right? This one was $168, and I actually have a promo code to get an extra 5% off if you want that. Maybe you're doing a sailboat, right? And you only have so much room for solar panels, so then you get a charge controller for that size, and you can hide the batteries. You know, maybe you don't want to weight the boat down or have that solar generator all in one spot. You hide the batteries around. You have all your wiring that you bought anyways and all your connectors and you can modify it. Put the batteries out of the way if you're in a tight space. Run the inverter. The other cool thing with these Viver inverters is it has a long wired remote control, so you can turn it on and check everything from the little remote. So you could tuck this under a bed or out of the way and just have this sticking out, or put this on your sailboat wall or your ice shack wall, and this controls everything. So what you're seeing in front of me is literally the solar panel. A 200 watt solar panel is about 150 bucks, probably less now. Charge controller that can take 390 watt solar panel at 12 volts was $18. This battery was $99. This Viver inverter, which is a big one, is $168. This is all Canadian. So for way less than any solar generator on the market, you can make your own. Maybe you get really fancy and got really deep pockets, and instead of a advanced lead acid battery or a deep cycle lead acid battery, you want lithium iron phosphate super battery. Take this out, sell it, or if it went bad, take it and have it recycled and put your lithium iron phosphate battery in. Perfect. And all these components are good. When the charge controller craps out, get another one, right? I love it, and I love learning this stuff. Now, maybe you're going camping and don't feel like lugging the solar panels, right? So you just throw some batteries on the box of your truck and hook up cables from your truck battery to the deep cycle battery, and then when you're driving and your alternator on your vehicle's going anyways, what it's doing is it's charging your batteries. By the time you get to your campsite, you probably have your batteries fully charged up, and then all you need is your deep cycle batteries and the inverter. It's pretty cool, infinitely expandable, and it's important that you know this and know how to do it and have the tools to expand it and kind of know in general what you're doing, and it's a lot of fun. Have some fun with it. There's a few things that I'm going to make out of some of these systems. I'm going to do a mobile wireless router for where I don't have Wi-Fi signal. I'm going to make a little system with a little solar panel. I'm making a portable chicken coop that's going to have a solar panel and this, a tiny inverter to run my automatic chicken door on my mobile system, and maybe a light that stays on in the winter to fool the chickens that it's still kind of light out. I'm going to do an honor egg system, so I probably don't need an inverter for that one. It'll just stay at 12 volt. So a little solar panel, charge controller, one of these batteries, and then from the battery to my little cooler and maybe a 12 volt light. There, the honor egg system's done. I'm doing a tiny house kind of micro homestead thing. Instead of a solar charge controller, I'm thinking of a little bit bigger solar panels, because you might want to run stuff more in like household stuff, a little water pump, stuff like that. Charge controller that might be a little bigger if you have more solar panels. Maybe instead of one battery, I get 4. 2,000 watt inverters, probably perfect for a little tiny house, or maybe slightly bigger. And then I can run a whole bunch more stuff. For the greenhouse I'm sitting in, I'm going to make my own thing too. But I'm going to put about 4,000 watts, or I think I got 4,500 watts of solar panels in storage. A charge controller, I might do a 48 volt system. A bunch of these batteries, put in probably a 48 volt system, and then a 48 volt, and I made myself a solar generator. Now you could get really fancy if you want to make something that looks pretty good, or you could get a Pelican case, or I happen to have a military outdoor style big crate case that I could probably fit 4 batteries. It would be heavy. Put the inverter and everything in, run the little Viver remote to the outside so you can control it from the outside. This is waterproof, I believe, as well. And make my own big solar generator. If I want an even bigger one, I can build it on a pallet and move it around with a skid steer. Or, in an upcoming video, my golf cart has 6 8-volt deep cycle batteries in a 48-volt system. That is essentially a mobile power bank. So I can plug in a solar panel system to charge the golf cart, run around with the golf cart if I want, or I can use the golf cart, hook a 48-volt inverter to it, and have mobile power. So I can take a pump over to the well, I can take drive the golf cart down to the pond with a water pump and an inverter and pump water all day long, right? Or I can take it over to a solar panel array, plug it in, charge the batteries, be on my way, and it's kind of like a mobile power bank. So a solar generator on wheels. It's really simple when you get to it and get into it. It's important to know. It's important to know what components and wires you need, and fittings and end pieces and alligator clamps, what size, how it all works, how to not hurt yourself. I love it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.